Hello, welcome to China's Politics, and today's topic of discussion: the US can't have the market all to itself. China and India launch chip cooperation. According to recent news reports, India, the world's fifth largest economy, wants to become a chip powerhouse and get a share of the hot track of chips. In fact, India has always wanted to bring chip manufacturing into the country, and has developed corresponding incentives for the chip industry. However, at present, India has neither large chip design companies, nor newcomers to the chip manufacturing industry. In the face of such great difficulties, why India has so much courage to want to join the popular circuit of chips? According to relevant sources, Apple 14 will expand production in India. By the time the end of 2022, 5% of Apple 14 will be produced in India. This move by Apple is obviously to diversify the product supply chain. To put it simply, is to reduce production in Chinese factories. In fact, for many years India has wanted a piece of the world's production capacity. For example, India had joined the global chip manufacturing race, spending huge amounts of money to encourage investment in the production of technology products. Huge capital investment, in addition to the time required to set up factories, business, taxes, etc. are India to make investment in building factories face great difficulties. But at the same time, India also has very big advantages, such as having this huge semiconductor consumer market, but also has a large number of engineering talent, cheap labor, high-cost benefits. Chip design requires a large number of skilled workers, and these highly educated engineering talent just to fill these vacancies, which is also India's advantage. In addition, 8 of the world's largest semiconductor companies have set up design houses in India. It is evident that India has been developing domestic technology construction. India has also launched a chip design-led plan to become the semiconductor design capital in the next 5 or 6 years. From the previous analysis, we can see that although India has certain advantages to do chip design, but at the same time there are many difficulties. For example, the chip manufacturing industry. India does not have a factory to manufacture chips. So India has announced a series of cooperation plans one after another. For example, China Foxconn and Indian mining company Vedanta has reached cooperation, announced that it will build a $19.5 billion worth of chip manufacturing in India. According to media reports, Han Hai is involved in this semiconductor project, the largest semiconductor investment project in India's history, with an investment scale of $6 billion to $8 billion. According to the agreement, the joint venture will produce the first finished products within 2 years. The project is expected to provide about 100,000 local jobs upon completion and will boost India's strength in the semiconductor sector. Semiconductors are about a country's core competitiveness. Han Hai's move has caused many people to express concern. It is understood that the first products will be produced for India 28nm chips. Han Hai will create a more complete chip industry ecology for India, covering the chip packaging, testing, manufacturing and other aspects. What makes people puzzled is not only this. This project of Han Hai is chosen in Gujarat, the hometown of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to local media reports, Han Hai and Vedanta had visited several cities, and initially Gujarat was not favored. Unexpectedly, the original supporting actor managed to rise to the top. Han Hai believes that Gujarat has made a lot of efforts and the efficiency of the local government has improved, which is conducive to promoting the development of the semiconductor industry. And according to the local media, Gujarat gave this semiconductor project some concessions, including various subsidies and cheaper electricity. Of course, this is not all. Over the years, India has been making efforts in the manufacturing industry to attract foreign companies to land in India. Chinese companies have made massive investments in India, especially Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and other Chinese cell phone manufacturers, which have invested tens of billions of dollars in India and built several new production plants, leading to the gradual improvement of the Indian cell phone industry chain. However, India has greater ambitions, the semiconductor as the next focus. India wants to establish itself as the second Silicon Valley, and it is expected that by 2026, the size of the Indian semiconductor market will reach $63 billion, a significant increase from $15 billion in 2020. In the era of intelligence, there is a huge demand for chips in various industries, and there are still huge opportunities in this field. India is trying to pull in more chip manufacturers to land in India. In addition to Honhai to build a factory in India, India has also invited TSMC and other companies, and TSMC has also visited India for a thorough inspection. India is joining the global chip manufacturing arms race. This year, several companies have invested in semiconductor projects in India. For example, the Israeli chip maker Hightower Semiconductor, a joint fund company to invest $3 billion in India to build semiconductor factories. Singapore's IGSS Ventures also announced that it will invest $3.25 billion to build a semiconductor high-tech park in India. In the past, India is highly dependent on chip imports. Modi attempts to change the situation, seeking to promote the local manufacture of chips in India to enhance competitiveness. For many countries looking to boost their chip manufacturing prowess, their main problem is the few companies in countries that dominate the industry. For example, Taiwan and South Korea account for about 80% of the global chip foundry market. Foundry refers to the production of chips designed by other companies. India is usually not among the top semiconductor countries. As a result, India does not have many large chip companies, and certainly no leading semiconductor manufacturing companies. While India may not have a homegrown major semiconductor company, its plans under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government rely on efforts to attract foreign giants to invest in India. In December last year, India approved a $10 billion incentive program for the semiconductor industry. Thus, New Delhi's strategy seems to be twofold: on the one hand, to attract foreign companies to transfer technology and production lines to India, on the other hand, to encourage local Indian companies to build an industrial base in areas where they have an advantage. The large amount of capital required to develop a chip industry in India, the time it takes to build plants, and the uncertainty of the business, tax and trade environment often discourage international companies from setting up operations in India. Previous attempts in India have failed because of concerns about these factors, Koppasain said. However, there are signs that these conditions are changing. China's semiconductor chips have a bright future in the coming years, led by emerging areas such as smart cars, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things and 5G communications. At the same time, with the launch of the National IC Industry Development Promotion Outline, Made in China 2025 and other platforms, the domestic research and development for semiconductors continues to increase investment, and policy support is gradually forming a synergy. Including the recent mass production of 14 nanometers, the training and introduction of talent are laying a very solid foundation for the future development of China's semiconductor industry. As the world's extensive consumer market, China has a large demand for chips, although currently imported chips account for 70%, but China has set a goal to achieve 70% of domestic chips by 2025. These are the advantages of China's chip development. Although India has a certain basis of semiconductor design, but in the field of manufacturing and technology are difficult to have a breakthrough. And China's continuous breakthrough in the field of chips, it is inevitable to achieve chip autonomy. This also shows that China is happy with its achievements, but also to look behind the catcher. Only continuous efforts to breakthrough and development is the way.